Okay, it's 5:30, so we're going to call the October, and think what month it is, October meeting to order. First item up is Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. ECP.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our mission statement tonight will be read by Ms. Karen Walker.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Beaufort County Schools will provide quality educational programs and services to ensure student academic and vocational success.
Thank you. There were no public comments. No one signed up for that, so we're going to move straight over to approval of the agenda. Anyone, you think we're good on that? Okay. What's the board's pleasure? Second. Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to this agenda? Okay, we have an agenda, and that'll carry us into board minutes. And if you look at your screen, I'm sure you already have, there's two sets from October 3rd, and I'm sure you've already had a look at those, so what's the pleasure?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Had a motion and a second on the approval of the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to these minutes? No? Okay. And now we will have our public recognition, which is what I'm sure everybody has come for. And tonight we will have Mr. Bilbro to my left be assisting Ms. Howard to my right. And I'm going to turn it over to them.
Aren't y'all lucky?
Yes, they are.
Yes, you are.
Good afternoon. The character trait for the month of October that was recognized in our schools was courage. At the elementary level, the nominees were from Bath Elementary, Annika Bateman; from Chocowinity Middle, Xavier Dale; from Chocowinity Primary, Amir Randall; from Eastern Elementary, Jakim McKenzie; from John Cotton Taylor School, Naquasia Langley; from John Small, Zion Collins; from Northeast Elementary, Hannah Jarman; and from S.W. Snowden, Jackson Duncan and Cameron Weatherly. The winner at the elementary level was Amir Randall from Chocowinity Primary. If he's here, he'll come forward. There he is.
Just in time. Brought him in.
Amir is a fourth grade student at Chocowinity Primary School. His mother is Mrs. Patricia Randall, and she can catch her breath and stand. And he was presented by his teacher, Mrs. Cox. And Mrs. Cox wrote, "Have you ever wondered if you possess courage? Courage comes in many forms. This student probably had no clue how much courage he had when he walked into class the second day of school and quietly said, 'I am your new student.' Now, most of the time, the teacher knows new students will be coming to their class, but circumstances and a tropical storm day out made for a miscommunication when we returned. Knowing how I would have felt in this situation, I welcomed him with open arms and heart. As this student and I got to know each other at lunch over the next several days, he opened up about how he was not always the ideal student at his other school, but he was going to really be good here at Chocowinity Primary School. He also stated he didn't like to read. Now, it takes a lot of courage to tell me, a reading teacher, you don't like reading. So, of course, it became my mission to get him to love reading before the school year is over. Wow. Admitting this to his new teacher took a lot of courage, but let me tell you, he has kept his word and not wavered. He has taken responsibility for his reading goals, and he is constantly self-monitoring and striving to do his best in all areas. It takes courage to admit your faults and then take action to actually do something to improve them. We could all take a lesson from him about what it takes to have courage. I am truly excited to see what he accomplishes this year. My nomination for the character trait of courage is Amir Randall. We say congratulations.
And we're going to give you a certificate. They wrote a small novella on you, didn't they? That was a lot of information. It's wonderful. You get a certificate, and then this is something from Frank's Pizza. Okay? So congratulations. Courage is a wonderful trait to sustain and to endure. So what we're going to do now is let you meet the board. Okay? So we'll go around and shake their hands. This way. Here, you can come this way. So the camera sees you.
Shake their hand.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great job.
job. Good job. Hey. Good job. You gotta do
At the middle school level, the nominees were Bath Elementary, Ella Peterick, Chocowinity Middle, Sophia Pena Achery, from P.S. Jones, Montserrat Chavez, and from S.W. Snowden, Lewis Adams. And the winner at the middle school level was Montserrat Chavez. She will come forward. All right, just want to be sure. Montserrat Chavez is a sixth grader at P.S. Jones Middle School. Her mother is Miss Guadalupe Hernandez, if she will stand. Okay. And she was presented by her teacher, Miss Dawn Landon. And Miss Landon wrote, "We don't develop courage by being happy every day. We develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity." These are words from Barbara DeAngelis, and they seem to be spoken directly about sixth grader Monsi Chavez. Monsi is full of courage. The courage to come to school every day and give big hugs and smiles to her teachers and classmates, even though her father, whom she loved dearly, passed away last year. The courage to work hard in class and ask questions when sometimes a physical disability keeps her from getting all of her great thoughts down on paper. Sometimes a physical disability keeps her from getting all of her great thoughts down on paper, challenging her hand to work to get the words written perfectly like she wants them to be. The courage to be a leader in her group, boldly speaking her opinion while still patiently respecting the views of everyone else in her group. The courage to keep putting both feet forward without complaining when we do our outside walk after lunch every day, even though I know sometimes she struggles with her ankle brace. And finally, the courage to be proud of herself and to keep smiling and giving 100% in a world that throws her numerous challenges every day. We say congratulations to Monsi.
And something from Friends Pizza, okay? And keep that smile up. It takes courage to smile. Good job. You want to go read the board?
Congratulations.
At the high school level, the nominees were from the Early College High School, Savannah Davenport, from Northside High School, Hunter Williams, from Washington High School, Jack May, and from Southside High School, Jalen Shepard. And the winner at the high school level was Jalen Shepard from Southside High School. She will come forward.
Congratulations.
Jalen is a ninth grader at Southside High School. Her parents are Dale and Kristen Shepard, and she was presented by her teacher, Miss Tina Petty. If our parents are here, if they'll stand. And Miss Petty wrote, "Jalen came to me with interest in singing the national anthem at our sporting events. She was very nervous, but did a great job at the audition. I scheduled her to sing at the next soccer game. When she arrived, she was a nervous wreck. When it was time to sing, she started out a little too high and her voice cracked at one part in the song. She stopped and looked like she was going to have a complete breakdown. I told her she could do it and keep going. I was very afraid that she was not going to be able to finish the song, but Jalen pulled it off. She picked back up where she had left off after a brief pause and finished the song in a beautiful fashion. Upon completion of the song, Jalen fell apart. I am so proud of Jalen for having the courage to finish what she started despite the fact that she was so upset. We say congratulations.
And something from Friends Pizza. Congratulations. Let you go meet the board.
Good job. Good job.
Get all three winners to come back up. We'd like to get a picture with you.
Have
That's right, you could open the meeting.
You good, Don?
This time, we'd like to recognize this quarter's Clean School Award winners for October 2017. And the winners, we actually have two this month. We'd like to have them come up. Bath Elementary School and S.W. Snowden. From Bath Elementary School, we have Wade McKeel, Eva Lodge, and Calvin Woolard. And from S.W. Snowden, Clyde Bryant and Lacey Dixon. Both schools had a score of 99%. Let's give them a round of applause.
I need to give it to you first, Don. There you go, right there.
Have you greet the board if you would. Yeah, congratulations.
It's about time. Thank you.
These are some of our hard work.
Enjoy it. It's going to be the last time now. Good job.
Clean up behind all the kids, y'all. I can't keep my house clean. I said we need to make y'all do some whole thing. Y'all do a fine job. I already told you that a while ago. I've seen them. If I had to clean my kids, I would never get fit.
Wade, that's a 99, so that means there's still room for improvement. 1%. No, I know where the 1% comes from.
Butch being tough over there, isn't he?
We'll have to split the sign between the two schools.
Stand rotated every other day.
Congratulations. You can't shake hands. We also like to recognize the schools that score a 90% or higher for honorable mention. And for this month, we'd like to share the Ed Tech Center had a 98.3, P.S. Jones Middle School a 98.2. We had three schools with a 97.5. They're Northside High School, Chocowindy Primary, and Southside High School. John Small Elementary, 97.3. Chocowindy Middle School, 97. Eastern Elementary, 96.5. Northeast Elementary, 95.5. Washington High School, 94. Let's give them a round of applause. We also have some schools we want to recognize for being honored by at the state level for recognition in the area of PBIS, Positive Behavioral Intervention Support. And we have some schools that are being recognized for Green Ribbon. And I'd like to ask those representatives to come forward, if you would, from Eastern Elementary School, John Cotton Taylor Elementary School, Chocowindy Primary School, John Small Elementary School, and P.S. Jones Middle School. If you'll come up, I'd like to read a little bit for the public to know what this is about. I'll come over here. The criteria for Green Ribbon recognition is as follows: an active administration, PBIS team in place, PBIS team meets monthly, PBIS completed Module 1 training, all office referral data submitted in the Discipline Data Summary Spreadsheet, completed and submitted the Tiered Fidelity Inventory, completed and submitted the SET, achieved and at least 80% on the SET. These schools will be recognized at the 2017 recognition program at the EC conference on November the 14th. We had several schools who were very close to recognition. We look forward to having more schools recognized for the 17-18 school year. And a special thanks to Maria Morris for being the PBIS District Coordinator for the 2016-17 school year. Let's give them a round of applause. If you'll come by and greet the board, I'd like to get a picture with you as well. Well done. Good job.
I didn't think it was going to make you guys go there. Any good news is great. Tracy? Congratulations. Obviously you are. Good job. Congratulations. Glad to see y'all here later. Special that gap, keeping you straight. Congratulations. Hey, Mitch, this street makes you look a lot better. That's right.
You too, Rose Lisa?
Somebody needs to bend down. Stoop down.
You can crop and cook the real bro. I don't think he had the trouble that you had with your day up
I'm
there.
telling you.
I need
I
half
told
the
him
pay.
he-
That boy was right. All the recognition.
Too bad.
I think that concludes the recognition portion of our meeting, and we want to thank you for being here. And generally, here's where we take a quick break, because I'm sure that's probably why you came. But if you want to hear the rest of this, wonderful board, whatever we have going on here tonight, you're welcome to stay. So, but if not, we'll just pause for a minute, and thank you for being here.
They say they got a problem. Oh, yeah.
Well, that was what I was saying. Okay. Well, I was wondering because he didn't seem to be engaged with any of what was going on. So maybe Stan.
We're in a closed session already? James said hurry home.
Maybe we'll come back and Stan and say something like that. I told Stan, I said, I think you would move down to Keckingport.
Yeah.
I think you're eating.
See ya.
I don't know why he's here.
There's no one left.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought we were going to bring it up to him.
It's like peeing in the pool.
Stan, would you like to leave too? Everybody else. Everybody else left. So.
Somebody left that.
What was it? Oh, that. Okay. I thought Stan was practicing again or
You can tell
something.
he had a
The baby's not in it, is it, Stan?
He hit it down with it.
Hope
Must
not.
have carried the baby out.
Okay, that's going to carry us to, actually, we're going to move to go into closed session. We're moving things around a little bit tonight because of a special guest we have here. So I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321, and in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the board, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in open session, and the first order of business is to approve the personnel agenda that was just discussed.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. SRO contract, which I'm assuming, well, Donna, I'll let you explain it, but
Yeah,
we're
we've-
just approving what we just discussed.
We've
about
had some
the-
edits that have gone back and forth between us
Okay.
and the folks with the sheriff's office, and we'd like to have your approval on this version of the contract to submit to them, and then if we need to come back for
Okay.
updates or conversation, we
Okay.
certainly can.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any last questions? I think everybody should be up. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone opposed? Graduation dates, Dr. Phipps?
Early college high school is May the 22nd at 7 p.m. We always like to get these in front of you for approval. And last year, we tried for the first time to do our other high schools on a Saturday, and we felt like it would be a better travel day and time for families to be there. There was some angst, I think, early on, but after we went through it, heard a lot of comments that were positive. The only drawback that I heard was that the Washington High School students were not able to participate in the administration of the ACT that day, and there were some students that may have been impacted by that. So I put it before the principals this year, and we looked at an afternoon or morning times, and if we start in the afternoon, we'd end early evening. If we start in the morning, we'd end middle of the afternoon, and they unanimously wanted to go with the morning plan again. And what we would do is, I think there are 5 different ACT test administration dates, and let the parents know early on that the graduation date conflicts with that last one, so that we'd encourage them to find another date. But it will be June the 9th, which will be on a Saturday again. We do Washington at 8:30 in the morning. Ed Tech would be at 11 a.m., and then Southside at 1 p.m., and then Northside at 3:30. And basically, it's keeping the schedule similar to what we had last year, just flip-flopping Southside and Northside.
Okay, so the 9th, you'll make sure that all gets out. Okay, any questions about that? If not, that's going to carry us to
Is that supposed to be on here?
Ma'am?
Okay.
Well, I guess it's, well, hold on.
You got under
I'm
action.
trying to rush, yeah. Well, I guess you just want us to approve those
Right.
dates.
And then we can
Okay.
send them out and get everything printed and all
All right,
that.
so board's pleasure.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to keep those dates Donna just mentioned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to those graduation dates? All righty. Now we're going to move into the no action, and we got you moved up. Mr. Hudson, you're first up on capital update, and I think you're having some guests with you as well. You want us just to open to 2016-17 right quick?
Yes, sir. There's only
Nothing really to
one item as update on the 16-17.
see anything really on it.
And that
Did you
was,
have a comment? But no, go ahead.
that Southside's fire-rated door has been put in place, and the communications is scheduled to start tomorrow for the installation on it, and hopefully be through by Thursday morning,
Okay.
where it's in place.
Yeah, I don't think I was going to just mention, I had a discussion with Ms. Carter down there, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
As far as for the electronics part,
Mhm.
and I think she probably has already, have they already mentioned to you, because their office is so spread out, rather than having the one control for the door on, like her desk, have they already mentioned this to you for having some different locations?
Yes.
Because, well, let me just tell you what she told me, and you know if this, and you can tell me if this is right or not. She said, because a lot of time in the morning, the principal is there before she might even be there, and somebody would have to open the door. His office is down the hall, so if there was only that one control, they're gonna have to run from way down there back up to the front reception's desk to buzz the doors open. And
What
so
I
they were
understand, and I have
requesting
not-
some kind of
yeah.
multiple locations.
It's supposed to be up to 9 users,
Okay.
supposed to be able to do it. We got to find out what we have to do. I've got to call in to East Carolina Communications, find out what we got to do to add it, where we can add those 9.
Right, 'cause I didn't know if it
Or
was
the
a
other
cost
8, excuse me,
factor.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it comes in at, so
Okay,
he's
so
supposed
you're
to be
gonna
getting
work
that.
with them on
Yes, sir.
that? Because
Yes, sir.
if we come back with just one, then we're gonna hear about it again, so just help them out.
Working toward it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any questions about the 17?
I don't see
16,
anything else
17.
on it. Everything else
All
was
right.
clear. Anybody have
All
a
right.
question about that one? 17, 18.
Me and Miss Lisa worked to get all the RFPs out. Everything is out. One that has been out twice, sent out twice, is the South Side, the first one, track repair. I've reached out to 2 different vendors by telephone, and they said the reason why they have not replied back, they're booked up a year and a half out already.
So
And
what
they
are
were
we gonna
not
do about
taking
that?
any work.
What do we end up doing about it, you
I
reckon?
need to go into track business.
Sounds like a lot of people must have been booked out a year and a half.
That's
But
what
mean,
I said,
eventually, if we
and
don't-
one of them did offer to come look. He said, "I'll come look and give you a budget number for the future." He said, "Things have gone up." He said, "Of course, demand is driving that factor, so you may have to come back with some additional
Can
funding."
y'all
So,
just kind of discuss some other options and come back to us? Because I don't think we can let that track go a year and a half in the condition it's already in.
correct.
Okay.
And at one time, they used to patch them, and now
Yeah.
they're saying the only thing they do is replace. They take the surface up and
Take
put new
that part
surface
up.
down. So
It's just that far end is what they're
that,
talking about.
correct.
Okay.
Lane 8, I think it is, or 8 or 10, whichever the amount of lanes it is, but it's the outside lane anyway.
Any other questions about anything on here? I guess my question's not toward you, money. Have we heard any more about our capital funds from the county?
I'm told it was approved. I don't know if the money, Willie Mack, has that been moved over yet from the county? Yeah, I'll check on that tomorrow, but
Okay.
talked with
I guess-
Brian the last couple of days, and everything should be good on that.
Okay, because that's going to have a pretty much effect on what we move
Yeah,
forward.
we were
as
just
far as
holding all those
capital
other projects until then, that's right.
Okay, no, Stan, that's it.
Okay.
Now let you explain what it is you need to explain.
Well, just going to ask Mr. Kevin, step up and have a machine that we wanted to show y'all for disinfecting, a quick disinfectant of our schools with the cold and flu season coming up. He can definitely explain the machine a whole lot more.
This is what I mentioned.
It's a very impressive demonstration. If he wants to set up a demonstration later, the way it works by positively charging the stuff and making it attract to it. So, Mr. Kevin, I'll turn it over to him to.
We've heard
speak
some
to y'all
good
briefly.
things about it. Let's hear it.
Have you discussed any of it?
We had a community forum a week or so ago, and we talked about school attendance, and I mentioned the fact, I think it may have been the same day that you and I talked, And I just shared with them that there was a tool out there, and it may be something that we'd want to consider, but we haven't had any more discussion beyond that.
The main thing is, when you look at it, it looks very simple. And it actually is. It's made out of Clorox. And basically, what this machine does is everything around us right now is positively charged. These are science education tonight. Everything's positively charged. What this machine does, pumps the chemical through, and once it passes through this ring, it negatively charges every molecule of the chemical. So therefore, if it's negatively charged, it doesn't want to touch each other. It immediately plumes out to get away from each other, but it sticks to everything that's positive. So basically, I can come in here, spray this entire room. It'd probably take me about 5 minutes to go from here into that entire side, and every surface you will be touching, including your computers, every safe, will be completely disinfected. It's crazy. And like you said, with school attendance, I know I did have some issues last year. We recently went into ECU athletics. There was an issue with some skin stuff with staff on some of their athletes. And they brought us in. They've been able to help them with that, but the main thing is they're already noticing their numbers going down just as far as when they do their testers in the room, as far as the reduction of bacteria. And we were able to do 4,000 square feet in 20 minutes. Basically, the machine, everybody always says the chemical usage, basically 2 gallons of it will cover 18,000 square feet, so you get a lot of space covered with just 2 gallons of chemical. Very portable. 3 years on the warranty. If everything's wrong, Brain is a company that we already sell to the county. Sell all of your own school supplies. We did furniture for Easter this past year, but the main thing is we have a full service team that would come in and be able to service these. Most of the times I know that they've run into any kind of equipment that we've done with Clorox, if they've ever run into the machine, they usually are just better off just replacing it, and then they just bring it back in instead of there being a downtime. But the main thing that I like about it personally is it's just so portable. You can take it anywhere. You can do school buses, activity buses, your
Weight
locker
rooms.
weight rooms. It doesn't hurt any of the surfaces that it touches. It also has another chemical for food service areas, for sanitizing cafeteria tables, and all these others. It has multiple purposes within your county.
Does it come out as a mist?
I can actually show you.
Very, very fine mist.
It is, and like I said, because
I don't see how it doesn't hurt technology. That's I'm curious.
Because of how the size of the 0.05 microns, so it's very small when they actually come out. So that's why it's not going to make it really damp. It'll just put just a coating on it.
And they put a tracer element in it so you can see it with the black light, and it physically attracted underneath the bottom side of the sink. We tested it before with the black light, nothing visible. Came back after he walked out of the room and he just fogged it above and went out. It was underneath, it was behind the toilet, it was everywhere. It's amazing. Our employee health nurse was very...
Clorox, or is it a special formula?
It's a quad formula they put through it because it has to it needs to be able to pass through the machine, one. And that's how they make it proprietary, so you can only buy their chemical. And also the chemicals, they all come with the caps that
Special cap.
special regulated. And that just, we have dispensing systems at 2 ounces per gallon, so it dispenses how much is actually supposed to go into the machine. But it's basically, like I said, it's just a pump, and then by neg will be charging it. And again, like I said, when I did it, I'll be shooting here, but I can see it going up. Because everything is charged, even the lights, and it goes and sticks on the ceiling.
But if you sprayed those seats, it doesn't bleach them out in any way?
No, ma'am, it will not harm because it's not an actual bleach. It's clot-based, so therefore, that's what's doing the killing.
Everybody think Clorox is a trade brand, that's their company, but it's not Clorox in it.
And they kind of have a kill sheet and will show exactly everything that it is. The main things we're worried about is, of course, norovirus and the athletes we got in the nursery and staff that we do worry about. Kills pseudomonas, which a lot of times grows in the athletes in their shoes. So after we did that locker room, we were amazed. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference. A locker room is supposed to smell like a locker room involved in a locker room. But it actually did reduce the smell line just by killing that bacteria in the locker room.
I'm sure.
And the speed of it is the main thing. Actually, ECU Athletics now is traveling with it. They take it to their away games and spray their locker room when they get there. They're just trying to make sure they're taking care of it.
How often do you do it in the schools?
Well, and then somebody asked me a question, how often do we...
Like how often would you do
how often
this?
do you disinfect?
Yeah.
And my question to everybody else is how often do you currently disinfect?
Okay, so it's similar.
It just comes back at what are your protocols? and it can fit into your protocol. But main thing is, if you haven't like just come in and just do like a wipe, because basically you're disinfecting whatever dirt is on it. So if somebody does like just a quick microfiber wipe, and then they just mist it and they can walk right out of the room, it's been disinfected.
And it has a 2-minute dry time, kill time, so you gotta leave it 2 minutes.
For different ones, there's 1 minute for, it just depends on the bacteria that you're trying to kill. But,
Any health risk? I mean, you spray it while the room's occupied?
I always do a PPE, I always wear a mask,
Same that.
and but you can do it. When I was doing the locker room that day, quarterbacks were on the other side of the locker room, and I was able to do it, and they're safe, they're completely safe.
I think when you think about the cost, and particularly when you think about children and the flu or any of the other viruses that we've got going around, when you have to go into a classroom and wipe it down, and the hours that we're spending on personnel and the cost we're spending on chemicals, at some point it becomes a good deal.
Right.
And if nothing else, there's the peace of mind of going into a classroom where you've got sickness and know that you've got treatment.
You can have a child that throws up in the class, say they're sick. You can basically clean up after that. Take the students out, just take them out of the room. And you can go right in that room and disinfect that area, and then go right back into the room.
How much is this machine?
Yeah.
Just under 5,000.
Right, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
We
And-
do the process at school, we go to RFPs, and we understood that Clorox originally came to us, and it was between $7,300 and $7,800. But they know as far as RFP processing and getting into places, they just make sure we quoted it $4,999. So I think it was
Gotcha.
underneath that.
And we're not asking for that decision tonight. We
No.
wanted you to see it so that once we have conversations, you know what we're talking about.
Doesn't like
The
to be much of
machine
a-
is just under 5,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what about the,
Chemicals.
yeah, the
is
chemical.
100 for, if you get 4 of these, so you're basically getting 8 gallons for $100.
And
But I'll
then-
tell you, I mean, he's used, but they bought 2 cases from him, they still haven't used up the 2 cases. That's been all.
And what did we spend last year on cleanup that we did in that one
I
school?
was trying to do some research on it before tonight. I didn't know he was coming till later, but I was gonna try to find out what we spent at Northeast cleaning
I know
up.
it was a lot.
It was
a
either
lot of money.
$600 or $1,600
Yeah,
on just
I
on
think it was
chemicals.
16.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And nothing against your janitorial, I know when I spoke with some of them, they're trying to do it as fast as possible. Most of these chemicals that you do, like we talked about the kill time, it has to sit on that surface. There's a kill time for all chemicals that get on surfaces. So if we take the disinfectant, I spray right there and I go like that, I didn't disinfect.
Right.
But they are probably, I mean, there's a lot of times when you go into places and they say, yeah, we disinfected it, but you gotta let stuff sit. It's a process, it's a protocol.
And it doesn't look like it would be a big training issue.
No, it's
As far as
very,
you
very
guys
simple.
using
And they
it.
offer the training free
Right.
service, in-service,
But it would be,
education.
I'm pretty sure anybody could pick up.
And it's a
on it.
very low maintenance. It's got a mechanical
Well, I
pump. It's
didn't
very
mean it
simple.
like that.
If
So,
I can do it, I'll be like I said, yeah.
Why don't you get with Don and y'all just make some recommendations and come back to the board?
Yeah.
we-
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
any
I like
other
having
questions
those
for me?
Yeah, be great.
Thanks, Dan.
I think
Anything
it's
else?
with you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Dan. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Size limitations?
Just
Or
want
size limit?
to, yes, sir. Just want to speak to the board briefly about this summer was the first phase-in of the class size requirements. Next year will be the full phase-in where no kindergarten class can have more than 18 students, no first grade can have more than 16, no second or third can have more than 17 students. And the kind of impact that we're looking at, one of the things that is new that you're going to hear a lot more about is when we were talking about class sizes in the past, we've referred to K-3 class sizes, and most people understood that as the core classes. So I'm a kindergarten teacher, I'm a first grade teacher. What the General Assembly, however, in the way they wrote the legislation, that also includes what they refer to as enhancement teachers, PE, music, and art. Now, we're very fortunate in Beaufort County, we don't have any PE, music, or art classes that are over the same limits. But in the past, there's never really been a class size limit on PE, for example. Even at the kindergarten level, you might have a PE teacher that handles all 3 kindergarten classes, for example, at one time. The way we schedule our classes, that doesn't happen here, but there are a lot of school systems around the state that are scrambling right now because the way they interpreted this was just the core, not art, music, and PE.
Right.
But we have to look at all. Now, I'm pleased to say, especially since my boss has to sign an affidavit that says that we're not over the class size limit, which is also a new wrinkle this summer, that we're not. As a district, the class size this year allotment for the K-3 is 1 to 20. An individual class could be up to 23 students, but overall, it can't be more than 1 to 20. So if you look at all of our numbers, some are lower than that, some are right at the limit. Technically, we balance out. Projecting next year is what we're already talking about. So assuming this doesn't change, then we will, if we use this year's numbers, our current student enrollment. At Eastern Elementary, for example, right now we have 15 kindergarten teachers and 15 first grade teachers. We'll need the same number of kindergarten and 2 more first grade teachers that we don't currently have, which means we'll have to hire 2 more folks in addition to any other vacancies, and we'll have to find space at Eastern for 2 more classrooms. At John Cotton Taylor, we have 14 and 14 this year. We'll need 16 and 16 next year, which means they've got to hire 4 more teachers and, more importantly, find 4 classrooms. Chocowinity Primary is looking at 3 to 4 more teachers next year, meaning we need to hire 3 or 4 more and again find 4 more classrooms. Bath is on the bubble with their kindergarten. They may need to hire 1 more. Northeast and Snowden should be fine if current numbers hold up. That's 11 positions, about $555,000. Now, the state says they're going to give us that money, not to worry. I'm not exactly holding my breath that that's going to happen. So the bigger issue for us, even if they give us the money for the teachers, I've already been in conversations along with Dr. Phipps and these principals, especially at Eastern, at Chocowinity Primary and John Cotton Taylor, about where are we going to find classroom space. Right. And there's certainly, you're going to hear about, I mean, some rooms being converted into classrooms, some folks having to move rooms, some things that we have now. I mean, people are going to be inconvenienced. I mean, it's just going to have to happen to create classrooms. So, certain things, certain programs we have some, for example, some at John Cotton Taylor, one of the rooms in the mobile unit is used for pre-K screening. It's very convenient, but it's a classroom that we can convert. Right. So we'll have to find a new home for pre-K screening at John Cotton Taylor. There are things like that. ISS, there are other classrooms that may be converted they're small and compact, but they're going to have to happen unless there's a building spree that I don't know about. So just be aware that's going to be the conversation we're having into next year, and there's going to be a lot of talking about moving classrooms and how to find space.
Could I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
That? Would you please keep us well informed? That and something else I'll mention up later. But those are the kind of things I want the board to know about before the last moment it happens.
Sure.
Because you know we're going to hear about it.
Yes, sir.
So as you're looking at where you're going to put those classrooms and you're making those decisions, I'm not saying we have to tell you it's okay. I mean, I know you guys have got that handled, but come back and tell us, at this school we're looking at taking this, and this classroom and turn it in, or these spaces and turn it into a classroom. We need to be aware of stuff like that. There's too many times we get caught, blindsided on stuff.
And
that's going to be a real issue.
Oh yes, I agree.
I mean, it's going to be a real issue right there.
And at this point, we're just starting that conversation. We haven't.
Today, the statewide PTA president spoke to the legislators, and I guess there was some sort of big push on this today on them relaxing their requirements. Not that they will do it, but there seemed to be a big push in Raleigh about it. I heard it on the way here, and they were playing the sound bites. So I think everybody's feeling the same crunch that we're going to feel.
Well, we're trying to start now so we can get the word out, and we also the other cost. Even if we are able to find the actual space, and we're going to inconvenience people and move folks around, but we're going to have to talk to maintenance about moving desks from school to school. I mean, there's furniture. I mean, some of the rooms we're talking about aren't furnished. So, I mean, even if we have an empty room, so to speak, we'll still have to fill it with desks and whiteboards. And so it's not just going to be a matter of, okay, now this is a classroom. I mean, it's still going to cost money to do that. So.
Well, two at Eastern I'm looking at, 4 at JCT, and 3 or 4 at CPS.
Depending on how the numbers fall.
You don't ever know what the
and
enrollment's going to be.
that's also just assuming the exact same number of students. I mean, that could change too. If we have an increase in students, obviously that's going to be an increase in classrooms.
When you find 4 rooms at those schools we're not using, come back and tell us real soon. I want to know
we're using them. We're just going to have to repurpose them. That's going to be the argument.
But if we're using them and using them for a real purpose, you're just going to be moving those people somewhere else.
That is correct.
Right. So
yes,
you still got to come up with the rooms.
Yes, we do.
Okay, look, I'm right with you. I know there's no magic wand in this situation. Okay, is that all you need on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're up for the next as well when you're talking about employment certified contracts.
Yes, so let me start with this information. When I talk about certified folks, what I'm talking about are teachers or anyone paid from the teacher scale. That includes counselors, media, school psychologists, guidance counselors. All of those folks, a lot of times you hear teacher contract, but they're all certified employees. They're not talking about classified, I'm not talking about administrators, just pretty much everybody else, okay? Of the certified employees in Beaufort County, 237 of them currently have tenure, which is no longer exists for any newly hired individual. And these are your teachers who worked in Beaufort County for 4 consecutive years, and at some point the Board of Education granted them tenure, and there's certain due process rights if we were to do anything towards dismissal or demotion of those teachers, okay? We have 176 of certified individuals who have worked in Beaufort County schools for at least 3 consecutive years. But those folks were hired right as the General Assembly was taking tenure away. So they may have been on the track and it was taken away from them by the General Assembly. So they never received it, but they've been here at least 3 consecutive years. And currently we have 115 folks who have not been here 3 years, okay? So the 2 groups that this new law about teacher contracts concerns are the 176 who have been here and the 115 who have not. And this teacher contract was written as part of the teacher tenure law a few years ago, and the General Assembly basically said you can't do anything until you get to 2018, and then you can make some changes. So since this rule was in place, we've been giving folks a 1-year contract. If you had tenure, you had tenure. If not, the best we could do is offer you 1 year. You're doing great, you get 1 more year, okay? We have to make some decisions as a school system about what we're going to do going forward. And what I've given you is a very raw sample policy. It is not a recommendation. It is full of options. And we have to start the conversation with our principals and with our certified folks about these options. We also have to talk to other school systems because we're going to compete with other school systems about what options they're going to offer folks. One thing that hasn't changed, if you're a person that has not worked for a school system for 3 consecutive years, you can only be offered a 1-year contract. That is true across the state. That will continue to be true. So if I'm a 30-year veteran and I jump from one county to another in that new county for 3 years, the best I can do is be given a 1-year contract. In the old days, you could work 1 year and then be given your tenure back, but that's gone away. So it won't be like folks are attracting new graduates by saying, hey, you just graduated from North Carolina, I'm going to give you a 4-year deal if you come to my system. Nobody can do that. The question is going to be, what does Beaufort County Schools offer type of contract after you've been here 3 consecutive years? And that's what this policy talks about. It lays out lots of different options because you can give a 1-year contract, you can give a 2-year contract, or you can give a 4-year contract. You can put conditions on how do I get to a 1-year, or 2-year, or 4-year. There's lots of different options, and this policy includes lots of different options, but doesn't recommend any one. And so I just wanted you to be aware of it as we start this conversation with our teachers and our certified folks and our principals, and we'll bring back a recommendation to you. But this is a school board association policy that we can use to model and kind of pick and choose from. So I wanted you to be able to see it first.
Gotcha. Anything else?
Not on teacher contracts. No,
Okay, you're also up for bus driver salary schedules.
Just one addendum. We have some teacher assistants mainly who do not drive a bus for us on a regular basis, but they substitute every great once in a while when we need to pull them in. And because of the way you can't be paid for 2 jobs at once. So if I'm a teacher assistant and there's an emergency and I've got to go drive a bus, then I'm going to clock out as my TA job and I'm going to clock in as a bus driver. Well, there's going to be a time differential and a pay differential. And to make that up, I'm going to have to either lose a little bit of pay or I'm going to have to use a little bit of annual leave. But we feel like if you're doing us a favor by helping us drive a bus that you don't have to drive, then instead of you losing something, you should gain something. So we want to institute a flat $10 a day, $5 in the morning or $5 in the afternoon, which is a little better than the difference between bus driver pay and teacher assistant pay, so that if you help us out, you don't have to worry about taking the leave, and we give you the difference so that you're not losing any money by doing a favor to us. And that'll be new to us, and I wanted to make sure y'all heard about it as we try to go out there and explain it. These are only the folks, this is not someone whose regular job is split. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about somebody that just helps us out on those occasions, who's classified, because that's where it becomes an issue.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Seems fair.
Yep. Okay. Calendar update. Well, not calendar updates, calendar for November.
Would like you to look at November and a couple things, jumping down to the 21st, just to let you know that's the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. And we had someone who asked if we felt like parents would have any difficulty coming in. The following day is a teacher work day. I don't think it'll be an impact. I'd like to keep it on that date if we could. I do have a conflict on November the 7th, and that conflict is the Northeast RISA is putting on the second annual leadership conference, and I'm the chair of that conference. Lisa will be involved with me. We've got to go through the registration process, and we need to be doing that afternoon and evening. So what I'd like to ask is, could we move that meeting from November 7th to November 6th? Move it from Tuesday to Monday.
Same time.
Same week, same time.
Is that okay?
Fine.
Fine with me.
Okay.
I don't hear anybody disagreeing, so go for that.
And while we're on the calendar, something that we've done annually is we've had the principals come in and go through their school improvement plan presentations. Talked to our chair about this and wanted to ask, we don't have it scheduled, and I'd like to not schedule it. What I'd like to do is have the principals give you a brief summary of where we're at with school improvement plans, and because we're meeting with them at least twice a year in that informal conversation, we can do those kinds of things rather than having them come up and go through 4 hours of school improvement plans. You'd still see it in a brief format, but you'd have a chance to know exactly what was going on. So that's not on the calendar, but just wanted you to be aware of that.
That sound okay? I mean, we're going to talk to them anyway. They
Yeah.
won't have to get the, I don't mean to call it that, but the
Yeah.
5-minute
Right.
dog and pony show.
No, 7 minutes.
Was it 7 minutes?
Gracious.
Some of them, whatever. Seemed like 10. Board member updates. Anyone have anything to say? Yes, sir.
I stopped by Ed Tech on the way here. That's why I was a few minutes late. I'm sorry that none of you could make it. I found it very informational. I think they were, I feel a lot better than I did prior going into it. I mean, I guess you'll get an update, Don. I don't know how involved you were today.
I went by, but I couldn't spend a lot of time there.
But, I mean, I just wanted to say, hey, I would have been nice if somebody else would have showed up as well, honestly. I think they would have liked to have seen more of our participation.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I had a conference call.
I understand.
So-
I mean, I was a little confused because it was kind of buried in the text. And then I sent an email. I don't know who responded to me. I don't know if it was you, Don, or somebody else. Because I just wanted to be clear. I didn't know if our meeting was over there and I missed something or whatnot as well. So, but that's all I had.
Okay. Superintendent updates.
I had the privilege to be with Ms. Booth last week in Asheville. We attended the School Board Association Law Conference, and I would encourage, if you have an opportunity to go to that, I learn something every year, and it's amazing to me that they kind of have the fingers on the issues that are going to be coming up, and we may think it's something you're not going to deal with in Beaufort County, but sure enough, at some point in time, we get to deal with that. So just wanted you to be aware that that's a great conference, and you were represented there, and I hope you'll be able to attend sometime in the future. The annual school board conference is November the 13th through the 15th. I know we have several folks that are going and several that'll be serving as delegates. Also on the calendar, we have the Ag Expo. That's going on November the 2nd. You've heard Mac talk about that for about a year, and I mean, we're close to it now, and we'll have as many as 1,500 students there in Williamston. And then we have the Northeast RISA Leadership Conference that we're going to be doing on November the 8th and the 9th. So this is a busy conference time that we have in October and November, but a lot comes out of it in terms of professional development and whatnot.
Okay.
That's all I got.
I'm not the superintendent, but I have a quick question. This was laying on my desk when did everybody get one of these? Or okay, I didn't know if it was something I was supposed to be announcing or, okay, so everybody got one. All right. Carries me to our last piece of,
I'll make a motion we
There we
adjourn. Second.
got a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. All right. Thank you.